Friends, there is a lot of political symbolism attached to Engineer Rashid's release, the leader of the AIP, and the confusion and uncertainty surrounding his release and the political stance reflect the complexities and nuances of Kashmiri politics. Because there's a lot of symbolism, rather political symbolism attached, as some are shocked, some are rejoicing, some are seeing it as hope, and many are seeing it as a new political alternative. His release certainly evokes a strong emotion, with many seeing him as a champion of rights and dignity in Kashmir. And his release and the mass public support that he is enjoying at the moment that he's addressing rallies, that challenges the dominance of mainstream political parties, I mean the established political parties in Kashmir. And friends, though on bail released, it is certainly seen as a victory for his party against the established political bloc, because he has now been enjoying an emotional vote bank, and the kind of mass support his party is getting is simply out of the fact that he was in Tihar or he is in Tihar. Therefore, that emotional polarization that has been there during the parliamentary elections as well, and the kind of emotional response it evoked for Engineer Rashid, fetching him about 5 lakh votes, such a huge response by the public purely out of the emotions that he was incarcerated. And now the kind of support while on his release his party may enjoy against the established bloc remains an interesting political question. And certainly he is on bail, but his party is going to fruit, his party is certainly going to benefit out of this emotional response and emotional vote bank that his party is enjoying. The mass support that he got during the parliamentary elections also reflects the uncertainty about the future of Kashmir politics, and the reason for the new youth supporting his party or him, because they feel that there is hardly any political alternative in Kashmir, as there is a trust deficit for the established political bloc. Therefore, people are in search of new political alternatives, and he seems vocal, he seems emotional, he seems untiring, he seems brave, he talks about the same old things that he has been talking about, and especially sociologically speaking, his attire, the kind of language, the kind of that commonality in him, and the simplicity in his appearance, the demeanor, that makes him feel that attracts people, that he is one amongst us and not a class, not a political elite. He is like us. That this us feeling for Engineer Rashid's politics is certainly going to benefit his party in the upcoming elections, though whatever they expect, that may not be the results. But it is the tide. This tide can turn anyway, and this can be the game changer of the whole Jammu and Kashmir elections. He is deeply connected to the grassroots. His political footprint, especially in his own area, Baramulla, Kupwara, Langate, and the adjacent areas, is very strong, and his political range has increased by virtue of his incarceration, and since he was imprisoned in Tihar, that has certainly increased his political capital. Therefore, to a large extent, and to the larger area of Jammu and Kashmir, his release ignites hopes for the political change and a new wave of leadership in Kashmir. As I said, there is a leadership deficit. There is a lack of new political alternatives, and the new ventures that were opened rather in the name of or in the form of new political parties have trust deficit among the public. They have not been able to connect that much given their political discourse and the kind of narratives they have spread or they have talked about in public. There is certainly a political deficit. Therefore, among the newly emerged parties, only AIP may turn to be the game changer because of the parachuted leader that to at the time of elections in the form of AIP leader engineer Rashid. But one thing here that remains to be seen, that how is his party different from the rest of the newly emerged parties. One, his party is a bit older than the new ones. Second, his party enjoys that emotional polarization or emotional political vote bank. Third, he has that tendency to connect with the masses by virtue of his common attire, that too a kameez, pajama, simple Kashmiri, speaking language, and speaking a layman's language that lacks all that sophistication and formalities and political jargon and parliamentary language. That I must say that Engineer Rashid is quite devoid of, or he is deliberately doing that only the time will tell. And his kind of sense of reaction to the established big political parties since yesterday, he has been giving his reactions on the bigger parties, and the kind of common things he has spoken of against them is certainly making his connect among the people strong. But at the end of the day, is his who are the other in his AIP who are well-known political leaders? I hardly know anybody. Therefore, his party is again a one-leader party, like other newly formed parties. And is that going to make any significant change in Kashmiri politics? Only the time will tell. And is his simplicity and the kind of genre and the kind of language he has been using for politicians and for the people of Jammu and Kashmir, or the voices he has been raising against the safeguard of identity of Jammu and Kashmir, culture, tradition, blah blah blah, is that going to make any significant benefit for him in the upcoming elections? Only the time will tell. Thank you.